Hey everybody, it's your boy DOITWITHDAN, and we're back again to work on the dually. In the last video, I started building the adapters that are going to help convert the rear seats from a bench seat to captain's chairs. The whole idea behind this is just to make this truck a little bit more comfortable in the rear, especially when doing long traveling road trips. In the future, we're also going to be building a really long center console that will go in between the two seats. And today's episode is also sponsored by Ridge Wallet. Thank you again for partnering with me, and we'll talk about that later on in the video. Let's just get straight to work. Figured I might try a different approach today and do some kind of explaining on what I'm doing, because it's kind of weird when you're fabricating. People can't see your ideas until they're done. So I figured I'd just tell you guys about my process. Right here I'm severing some grade 8 bolts that I'm gonna mount to the seat conversion so I can bolt the seat down and it'll be removable. I cannot tell you how useful having a belt grinder has been. I originally bought this to do my knife making back in the day, but it's turned out to be such a fantastic tool for just general purpose metalworking. And I probably shouldn't be wearing a glove, but hate to get it caught in that belt and break all my fingers. So using a magnet, I'm going to position these bolts pretty much dead center of the holes that I've drilled. I did leave a little bit of a gap around to kind of finagle with them and make sure that they fit exactly where I needed them to be. And after tacking them in place, I'm going to go and make sure that they fit and that the heat didn't warp it in any which way or another. The bolts line up with the holes on the seats, so we're ready to finish up the welds. This might surprise you guys, but one of the things I've been practicing a lot lately with my fabrication is better metal prepping. I do have some acetone that I use every now and again, but for the most part I wipe everything down with isopropyl alcohol just because we have a ton of it anyway. And I make sure to grind all the coating off of it so I can have good penetration on my welds. I'm also going to prep the surface inside of the truck by grinding away all the paint. This is going to expose the bare metal. We're going to get through the paint and the zinc coating on all the areas that we plan on welding to. I'm going to start out by tacking our mount in place here for the seats, just so I can get a good test fit and make sure it's going to work the way we want it to. I've also been practicing patience a lot lately with test fitting, tacking, and welding, and making sure we don't create heat distortion. This has been key for me to making sure that my welds always line up and everything that I build turns out exactly how I want it to. good way of chopping square stock, this is what I'm using. This is what my DeWalt chop saw with a flappy wheel on it. It sucks. I need to just get a really nice saw, a cold cut saw with like a lubrication system. That'd be fantastic. If anybody wants to send me that, email in the description. Anyway. Now the good news is we're not going to need these seatbelt mounts because the seats that we're installing have the seatbelts mounted to them. So thankfully that saves us from having to make new seatbelt clip mounts anyway. I'm going to start out clearing again like I did in the last video by grinding all of the posts down so they're flat. We also have this piece of folded sheet metal, so the stamped piece of sheet metal where the seats initially mount to. Under normal circumstances, I'd probably just cut it away and then grind it flat, but after hanging out with my buddy Mike at Magnum Collision, I decided to try the old drill out the welds method. Look at that, a time lapse. What a great time to talk about today's sponsor, RidgeWallet. RidgeWallet's been a long-time partner of mine. I greatly appreciate them wanting to partner with me again. If you're familiar with the channel, you know damn well that they've been on the channel for a long time. Thank you, RidgeWallet. Continue to be awesome. If you don't know what RidgeWallet is a thin, low-profile wallet. It's not your dad's wallet. It doesn't have 7 folds and 42 family albums. Family. Not necessary. It can keep all your cards together. You got a money clip or a money strap, and it's got an RFID blocker to keep people from stealing your information. It's simple like this ad, so you can understand it. You can use my link in the description. Use the coupon code DOITWITHDAN for 10% off of your order with RidgeWallet, and I promise you, you'll be happy. I have a bunch of them, but my favorite one right now is my forged carbon fiber one. It looks classy, just like you. Anyways, back to the video. All right, the rear bracket is done and we can start welding it into the truck. One of my biggest problems that I came across on this particular conversion was just how thin the body metal is versus like how thick the bracket metal is. The bracket metal is almost a quarter of an inch thick, and I'd say the sheet metal is probably 18, maybe 16 gauge steel. So having to transition my welder into being able to penetrate both was a little hard for me. I had to spend a little bit more time on the thicker metal side and then kind of drop it into the thinner metal so it didn't over penetrate and burn holes through. Up and we're installed. All right, for this next part, I've been kind of like on the fence about some ideas, so I'll run through my process with you guys. So obviously we have the rear mounts ready to go. Those are nice and strong. These bolts have been welded bottom and top side for it to like just slide over. I mean, that's freaking delicious, right? But now I have to worry about these front bolts. And the problem that I'm running into is a couple of things. So underneath here, there's somewhere around here is about where the first bolt needs to go, which is great, but if I start welding and stuff, it's above a bunch of wires. I don't want to be grinding and welding and stuff right above a bunch of wires. And on top of that, the fuel tank is here, which, you know, I also don't want to weld holes into, you know what I'm saying? So I've thought about this a lot, and I had come up with an idea where I would weld a plate on top of this, and that's where the post would be, so it could grab all the strength of the sheet metal around it and pull it. Or maybe I thought about putting the plate underneath it and having it weld through and then welding around the base of it. But I don't think I'm gonna weld it at all. I think I'm gonna step away from welding on this one and just go one of those simplest routes possible and send a bolt through it, right? It's on the bottom of the vehicle, you'll never see it. And I'm thinking, you know, just drill a hole, boop, send that bolt through it, cinch it down from the bottom, washers on both sides to create better surface area, and that'll be plenty strong. I had considered welding the washers in place. I got these big, heavy, 1/8 of an inch thick steel washers that I thought about just kind of like welding around the base of it to create like more strength of it, but I think that just pinching it really tight with 2 washers on either side, I think that's gonna be more than strong enough, because I'm pretty sure, and all my GM, OEM guys will either back me up or shut me down on this, but if you look where the OEM bolts were, those are just like pinched in or like riveted in. That's just sitting in there. So I think using the bolts, just drilling holes, sending lag bolts through them, and pinching them down real tight, I think that's gonna be more than enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I have one more step that I'm considering, and by the time you guys see it, may or may not be done, but we'll find out. So I'm gonna drill some holes, send some bolts through it, and that'll be that. I hope. All right, I'm fucking stupid. I know that doesn't surprise you guys, but here we are. Let me run some ideas by you guys. I should have paid attention to how this thing works, right? Because it's very simple. These little latches come down, they latch on to these little things that are sticking up out of the thing, and that's how it works. It just pivots, right? Bam, super simple, am I right? All it does is connect to these little U-bolts right here, whatever you want to call them, just like bent pieces of metal that are shaped like C's or U's. And they go in this thing, goes boop, and bam, that's simple. And I probably could open it up, but I'm not gonna, because I don't think I need to. Well, here I am. Like, I'm not gonna open it up. Immediately just starts prying stuff until it pops out. Do it with Dan, everybody. King of one-handed problems. So, you know, this thing hovers a little bit too, which you guys have seen. So I've been thinking, what happens if I were to just sever it here, right? Just sever this here, and then bolt this front end down. Right, so here's what makes me stupid. I should have just done that from the beginning. Anyway, so I guess that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna probably just here and here, real quick, fold it over, lay it down, or set the front points, and then I'll have to support that somehow. But yes, we have a plan. That way, when it's down, I can use this. I think I can use this section for like a pull-out drawer or something. I can utilize this space, and it won't be just empty and blocked by all this crap, and it'll look better. Since everything's hydraulic, as soon as I cut this, it's gonna fold. It's gonna be a little bit of a nightmare. I hope it's not gonna be too bad. Maybe I'll cut it back here to get more leverage. We'll just move on from there. I'm fucking dumb. Well, it looks like I'm back to plan A. Sent my drill bit through here and it straight caught it and you wallered this hole out. So that's a no-go. And then this side over here is like literally right where a support beam is. So back to plan A, where I'm gonna cut out a plate, weld the tip of this to it, and then, you know, probably do a couple of spot welds on it too, but that's the idea. To create the front mount brackets, essentially all I wanted to do was drill a hole through a piece of steel, put a bolt through it, weld the bolt in place, and then weld that plate to the floor of the truck. Rather than pull all of its strength from just around the center of the bolt on the sheet metal, it'll pull all of its strength from the plate that's mounted to the sheet metal. It increases its surface area, it's got more room for it to pull, less room for it to flex. Overall, it's just a stronger way to do it. Man, I always forget how much a drill press is like way easier than doing manual drilling. Faster, cleaner, better ingredients, better pizza. Papa Dan's. Alright, so I've created these plates with bolts already through them. These are gonna anchor down our seats. They're just gonna sit here. I'm gonna weld all the way along the seams for them to stay, and that should be good enough. Should be plenty good. We're gonna find out though. seats. I did it. I fucking did that. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. We have captain's chairs in the rears. Good God, y'all. We did it. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne, and we did it. I converted my rear seats into captain's chairs. And that's pretty good centering too. That's like right in the middle. Same amount of gap on either side. That was a lot of work. I'm not even gonna pretend like it wasn't. I'm freaking beat. A lot of people were bitching about me using the armrests on the outside, which I had not planned on doing. I planned on using them on the inside. I was just using a place to measure and whatnot. But the correct armrests location are here. They're on the outside. Look at that, bask in its glory. We have two captain's chairs, and they have two settings as far as lean. There's like a lean, and then there's like a slightly more of a lean, but not much, just because of the way I was able to do stuff back here. But I feel confident in my room, my judging abilities. I feel good. I got good room here. I got good leg room, good back room, good stretching room. I think this is gonna be pretty perfect for what I'm doing. God, I'm so proud of that. I cannot believe how much extra work it took to do that. I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a project, but it was. This took place over like 4 days, maybe 5. Look at that. Very happy with that. All that work to remove a chair, technically. But this is where I'm gonna end today's video. We had a lot of freaking progress on this. Realistically, the last things we have to do is build a center console, put the radio back together, put the interior back together. But like this has been stopping me for a long time, finishing up the rear and the interior, and it's in. They look level, they look great. Fan-friggin-tastic. So yeah, like I said, next steps are gonna be building the center console, which will probably be out of like MDF and other wood and stuff like that, and fiberglass maybe if we even need that. And then we're just one step closer to getting this truck done. I'm beat. I also have to wire up the heated coils for the rears, because the seats in the rear are heated seats. Got to have that. And I'll go into how we're going to build the center console in 100% depth when time comes ready for that, because you guys are going to be like, how are you going to do that? And I got a lot of really cool ideas that I'm going to show you guys. I think you guys are going to like and appreciate it. But I'm going to go home, get showered, and get rested.